Oops. Oh, oh, oh.
Oh,
Your face is there.
it worked.
Oh my gosh.
I can actually see myself this time.
What is up?
Hello, how are you?
I am here. Happy Monday.
We made it. We are starting. We made it. What? We are starting. Like from where?
We, we made it. You're
We made
here.
it to the beginning. Exactly.
You're here. Awesome. Well, hello everyone who is joining us. Happy Monday to everyone. Oh, I didn't
We
name
are.
it. Should we name it?
I think we have a really good name
I don't know how
because
to.
like nutrition and things can be overwhelming. So we want everyone to remain calm
Okay, that was.
and learn with us.
I don't know how to name it now, though.
I think you have to name it afterwards. No?
I thought we could name it before, but either way. All right. Well,
That's all right.
we will figure it out. What is up, everyone? Happy Monday. We'll get started here in just a second.
Sounds like a
Just wait
plan,
for
Stan.
a few more people to join. You know, I can kick you out. That's cool.
Oh, thanks.
I'm
Very welcoming of you.
learning. I'm learning.
I like
All
how you can
right.
see. All right. Oh,
Should we
oops.
should we get going?
All right, let's do this thing. Okay.
Noise.
So what are we discussing today in our lovely live?
So, by popular demand, I think we're going to go through and chat about nutrition. I think that's something that there's a lot of miscommunication and misconceptions all over the place with
Mhm.
nutrition and understanding, how to eat. You can type in nutrition online and find 20 million results that will do nothing to support your goals.
Yep.
So, it, I think this is something
Throw
that's
in
really
social
important.
media, and that's a
Oh,
whole other aspect of it. Yeah.
you got fad diets. We got does keto work? Does
Intermittent
there's
fasting,
yeah a
all of
million
the above.
Atkins, all those fun things. So
Yeah. Alphabetical or chronological order. There's a lot of them.
so I mean I guess let's just start out with the basics, right? So a lot of people will hear like, are you hitting your macros? Are you eating enough? So how do we you as a coach, how do you go about telling clients like, hey, this is how we're going to make sure that you're eating correctly on a daily basis?
So for me, I specifically with my clients, I use my Fitness Pal as the way to track. But prior to that, I always give them the basic knowledge of like what is a carb, what is a fat, what is protein, and not just like okay, what are these things, but also what are the types of foods that go into each of those categories. Because you can have this knowledge of like okay, I know what it is, but if I don't know what the type of food I'm supposed to be eating, in relation to that specific macro, then I'm just going to stare at an empty plate. So, yeah, giving the basic knowledge of also what the purpose is of each of those macros in the sense of like how it works with your body and what you benefit from it. So,
Yeah, I mean that,
kind of
that makes sense. It's hard to, just look at a plate of food and try to understand what you're eating when you don't really have a comprehension of what really makes up a meal or what targeted eating looks like. So, I mean, since we were young, we've kind of just learned to, most people will say their parents kind of said, you have to finish what's on your plate.
right.
You're not getting dessert until you finish what you're eating, you know, and most people
Right.
have the idea that like, we need vegetables. We need some sort of protein. We need,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are saying now that like low carb diets are the thing to do, or high carb diets will make you fat. So there's
Right.
all these misconceptions about these things we're looking at on our plate, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to sit there and make a balanced nutritional, meal when you're overwhelmed with all these potential issues.
Right, exactly. And without knowing any type of like knowledge of what each of those macros consists of, it's very easy to just be like, okay, I'll go low carb. That's how I'll lose weight. Or I can't eat the bagel. Like the bagel's gonna be the death of me, when realistically it's also the calories. It's not just the actual item, the food specifically. So um yeah, no, but I agree. So carbs, fats, and proteins, those are our macros, right?
Yeah.
And
So go for it.
no, go ahead.
Uh,
That's all I got.
yeah, I mean, so those are kind of the big main food groups. And spoiler, contrary to popular belief, one is not necessarily better or worse than the other. Like you need protein, you need carbs, and you need good fats.
Yeah.
So that's something that people tend to forget is, oh, I'm just going to go on a low carb diet and I'm going to lose weight. Well, if you're looking to build muscle, you actually need the carbohydrates for glycogen to
Mm-hmm.
refuel and bring nutrients through your blood into your muscle
Right.
and repair damaged tissue. You also need the protein to help coat the fiber and build up the muscle fiber bigger. But you also need the fat because if you don't eat any fat, you're not going to have anything between your joints to help your body to really make sure that you don't get injured. Your hair, skin, nails, all that kind of stuff. So each
Yeah.
macronutrient is going to be super important in its own way.
Right. And specifically with fats too, in relation to women, like when you don't have enough fats, it messes with your hormone imbalances and a lot of really bad things that you don't want to deal with. And like when we say fats, we mean like the healthy fats, like nuts, avocados, all that good coconut oil, all that good stuff. But just each one of them has such importance in our entire body and just working in sync and making everything be like a well-oiled machine.
Totally.
um,
And I want to hit on something you said. I mean, those are good fats. So, avocados, coconut oil, nuts, those are all good fats, but too much of too much
yeah,
fat, it can be a bad thing.
right.
So if you're not careful and you're eating too much, you're like, oh, I had a healthy day of eating. Why did I gain weight? If you ate 6 avocados today, you're not necessarily eating towards your goals. So when
Right,
I talk to clients, I want a targeted plan to achieve your goals
right.
and the flexibility to say, well, maybe I want to have a cheat meal today, or maybe I want to have, a little bit more of the avocado today.
Yeah,
So having a way to build that into your diet. But
yeah, and learning to adjust your diet around what you enjoy. Like maybe some people want to have a cheat day where they like having super burritos. Like that might be their thing. So having to adjust and make sure that you're still on track to achieving what you want to achieve when it comes to your body goals. So, um,
totally.
yeah, no, I
And
agree.
here in Southern California, we do love our burritos.
Yeah, in Northern California too.
Yeah, totally.
The
So
whole California thing.
all of the California.
Hmm.
So kind of talking about macronutrients. Now we also want to talk about micronutrients because this is like super elusive. People, this is what there's so much money in these powders and special, green drinks to hit all your micronutrients. When in reality, if you're eating your macronutrients and you're eating enough of each category, you're gonna
Yeah,
hit those micronutrients needed.
yeah. And I think like you had touched or just had mentioned like the green juices and whatnot. And I think that for people that are really like picky with vegetables or picky with foods and aren't really like foodies, I think those things are great supplements in the sense of like you are getting those nutrients that you might not be getting in your day-to-day life because you just don't like the taste of broccoli or whatever it is. But what you had mentioned, if you're getting enough of each of those macros, then you are having a balanced diet in the sense of like your body is getting what it needs. When in the sense of like the micronutrients too.
Yeah, and an important one that a lot of people tend to forget is fiber.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important, not just for being regular, but also for a lot of cancer fighting attributes. You want to make sure you have enough fiber in your body to help really digest and break down
Yeah.
all the food that's in your gut. So that's
Yeah.
going to be a big one. You know, all those little things tend to add up, and for the most part, if you're eating enough food, which a lot of people aren't, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
You will not have an issue with hitting your micronutrients.
Yeah. Exactly. And you won't
Yeah.
have to take a million supplements or a million vitamins, because chances are, if you're getting all of those nutrients through your food, you don't need the extra vitamins because you're getting all those vitamins from the raw foods that you're already eating. So,
Yeah. And another thing to think about too, when you talk about, nothing against people who love their powders and their whatevers, but biologically, we're not made to break down liquids as well as we are to break down food. So you're not actually absorbing 100% of the nutrients you drink. We absorb around 60%.
mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about. That, I may not be actually, I may be taking these shakes in,
Yeah.
but in terms of the nutrients in these green shakes, I might not be actually absorbing. Same thing with pills. Pills,
Yeah.
your body has to break down and it will release excess. So you can't just assume that by taking a shake, taking a pill, you're getting what your body needs, because you're not.
And also, to piggyback off of that, when it comes to like protein, it's a thermogenic food, right? And so like it takes more, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it takes more effort to break that down, and that's your body like putting in that extra effort in whatever that type of process is
It's called,
called. But
yeah, it's called thermogenesis. So
okay, yeah,
thermogenesis is the breakdown of food, and that's what actually is going to speed up your basal metabolic rate, which is
right,
the rate at which your body burns food throughout the day. So something to think about is, protein. You'll tend to stay full for longer because your body does take longer to break it down. So you're in
mm-hmm.
that stage of thermogenesis for a little bit longer. That's why sometimes for my clients, I say if they get hungry throughout the night, casein is a type of protein that is kind of um, a little bit less filtered down, but it actually lasts in your body for 6 hours. So your body's constantly breaking it down. So, to keep your BMR working throughout the night, ingesting casein before you go to bed can help with those nighttime cravings.
Yeah,
There's a question that I kind of want to talk about real quick. Somebody was asking about color. They say if your food is colored gray, it's good for you. I actually would argue it's the opposite. You don't want gray food. You want to have as much color in your food as possible. So
yeah,
what that means is, look at a white onion versus a red onion. The amount of micronutrients in a red onion is much, much higher, and that's what gives it that pigment. So that's just something to keep in mind. You want, as I'll tell my clients all the time, you want to eat the rainbow. That's definitely
yeah,
important.
yeah,
And then the same person also asks, is creatine good to have at every meal? Creatine is going to be something that's actually found in meat and beef, particularly,
mm-hmm.
which your body breaks down, becomes creatinine, and will actually help with the ATP cycle, which is your immediate energy. So creatine's great. Taking it in excess can actually be harmful for you. So I want you to be careful. I don't see who it was who asked that, but I want you to be careful. Don't take it with every meal. You want 5 to 10 grams each day, and that's going to
Yeah,
be pre-workout, but preferably. All
mm-hmm.
creatine does is it helps expand your muscle cell and allow more protein to get in.
Right.
So you want to make sure that don't take it with every meal, because you'll have excess creatinine breakdown, and you'll have to be drinking gallons and gallons of water to pee it out. So
Because it also
um,
sense can dehydrate you, and
totally.
not like it's depleting your water in or your, but it can. And so like it's also good to take it with something that's a little bit higher sugar. Like specifically for me, I take it with a little bit of orange juice and like just down the hatch and you're fine. But um
But I
yeah.
thought all sugar was bad.
Okay, let's get into that.
Yeah, come on, that's a good transition. Go for it.
um no, definitely not. I mean, like fruits, do they have sugar? Yes. Are they bad for you? No. In excess, they're not. I wouldn't say in excess they're bad for you, but like you had mentioned earlier with like the avocados, if you're eating 6 avocados in a day.
It's probably not going to be towards your goals, but I have yet to see, and please, anybody listening who has a case study of somebody who only ate fruit and got fat, please send
Yeah.
it to me, because I've never I actually had a friend in college, right, who was on the banana diet. All he would eat, and I do not recommend this at all he would eat is 3 to 4,000 calories in bananas a day. And I'm sure his potassium levels were great,
Like
were
no
sky
peanut butter
high.
thrown in there, nothing, just bananas.
Just straight banana. But he was a very skinny guy. So, and bananas are mostly carbohydrate
Right,
rich.
there's no
So
protein.
you're going to get, yeah, that fruit sugar can actually help.
Yep,
Don't go out and eat 3,000 calories bananas.
we're
That's
not
not.
condoning that. I actually had my kinesiology teacher in college. His sister went on like an all carrots diet, and she, yeah. So like you were talking about bananas, I'm dealing with carrots. Her skin started to turn like partially like
Orange.
tinted orange. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. I've heard about that. I forget what that's called. Um,
I can't remember either.
if anybody knows what that's called, I know Dan knows what that's called. Dan just joined. Um, when your skin turns orange from eating too much carrot,
Like
uh,
it's like
let us know.
carotene. I don't know.
In a second. No pressure. Anyway, so um, kind of talking about sugar, it's not necessarily like, yep, there it is, beta car- carotene. So beta carotene. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dan. Um, so yeah, don't do that. Don't unless you want to look like an Oompa Loompa. Don't eat too many orange. There are too
Yeah.
many carrots.
Well, if you're going for the Snooki look, then be my guest. But
I'm all for it. Yeah, all for it. So let's kind of talk about stress because stress and food are more linked than people like to think. And I am a perfect example of it right now. I'm sporting a little pooch right now, and my diet hasn't changed too much, but it's been a stressful week. Stress, it creates something called cortisol in your body, and when you have too much cortisol, when your cortisol spikes, you're less likely to drop fat.
yeah,
So it's really important to keep stress even keeled.
right. And this is why I always ask my clients every week, like, how was this week for you? How was your stress levels, like on a scale of 1 to 10? Because if they're hitting they're doing their workouts, they're hitting their macros, but work was absolutely insane, or they had stressful home life, personal life, whatever is going on, that's going to affect you in your weight loss journey or whatever your goals may be. But specifically for weight loss, yeah, it definitely plays a huge part in that. Um, and that's why it's good to pay attention to not just the scale and actually like figure out like how your environment was that week.
So, and I think we were talking about it. You know why? I was kind of explaining to you. So I have that like, I'm a little crazy. I like to think about like biology for many reasons, obviously, but
Yes,
like
not just biology.
biologically, in this instant, I'm a little crazy when it comes to like biologically and how we've developed. Understanding um, us and our how we break down things, how our different hormone levels can actually affect our fat loss, all that kind of stuff. But if you think about it in terms of a prehistoric, thousands of years ago, our bodies were created to feast and then famine. So we would be running around in our little, loincloths, finding food,
Mm-hmm.
killing it, eating it, and then we could have a couple days, a couple weeks without, serious nourishment. So our
Right.
body got so good at storing and being efficient that now if you are eating your diet, 9 days out of the week and then you fast, your body freaks out and goes, shoots the cortisol up. You may not feel that stress, but it shoots the cortisol up and your body goes, I'm going to hold on to everything I possibly can because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm eating again.
Right.
So something to be considerate about is, that consistency of running your basal. We talked about basal metabolic rate, so the rate
Right.
at which you burn food. Keeping that consistent. It doesn't have to be the craziness like the bodybuilders are doing with 6 meals a day, but keeping at a consistent level is what we're looking to achieve. Consistency over perfection. That's what I tell
Right.
people.
Because throughout the day, like you never want to get to the point where you are starving, where you're like, I just cannot wait to eat. And I know it's hard with, you know, all of us have crazy different schedules. I know that you pack like your meal prep, like you are on point. But you know, a lot of people, they're new to that or whatever it is, but it's really like you don't want to get to the point where you are just like dreaming of food and you're just like, I need something right now, like I'm gonna pass out. Like you do not want your blood pressure to rise or blood sugar to drop, either one, because that's like based off of your point that you just made.
Plus, you get really pissy. I mean, me personally,
No one
I
wants
get
to be hangry. Mm-mm.
no.
No, no
But
one wants.
biologically, what your body's doing is you're releasing a hormone called ghrelin, and what ghrelin does is it signals to your body that, shoot, I'm hungry. I need something. And then
Yeah,
your body is more likely, when you quench that hunger, your body's more likely to store it because of that ghrelin. So it actually increases food intake and promotes fat storage. So it's something to think about. You know, if you're ever getting to that point of like, God, I'm starving right now, that means you're off your schedule. You need to readjust, and obviously, you know, we're not perfect. So we get to I get gurgling all the time. But it's staying as prepared as possible so that you're not releasing that hormone as much as you
right.
can. So
Thanks. Yep.
um, yeah. So there's my crazy biology lesson for everyone today.
TED Talk with Zach.
Thanks for coming, everyone. I'll see you later.
We'll see you next time.
um,
Well,
cool.
that
Well,
kind. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say you had something you wanted to kind of segue into that, right?
Well, I was gonna say that kind of segues into the importance of food and why you do not want to undereat. Um, our bodies, surprisingly, are extremely, extremely smart, and they adapt to whatever you are going through at the time, right? And so, if you are under eating a lot, your body is going to adjust to that and kind of prepare itself in the sense of like, okay, I'm not going to be getting a lot of food here. I need to make sure that I'm not exerting a ton of energy here, not exerting a ton of energy there. Basically, like holding on to what it can keep because it knows it's not going to get a lot of nutrients from food because of the under eating. Um, and that is why a lot of people, when you do undereat, you're very tired, you're sluggish, you don't really have energy, because food is energy and at its source. And so when you don't have that, that's why you feel like your blood sugar is low. That's why you feel really tired and sluggish. I had a client that I was working with, and she was under eating quite a bit, and just within a week of keeping her at not a super high or not bumping her up really high, but when it comes to her calories, but making sure that she's getting in those nutrients. I asked her specifically one question: "How are your energy levels?" And immediately she was like, I feel so much more like alive, awake, just present. And that's what a direct food intake will do.
Yeah, I really like what you said. I mean, I usually say food is fuel.
Right.
So if you look at the base of what food is, it's pretty much your fuel for the day. So, you know, granted that used to make me decide to blend my chicken and broccoli when I was prepping for my show and just chug it down. That's one way to get your nutrition down. But in the end of it, you know, we are living a life where we want to be happy. So
Right.
being able to have that flexible diet,
Mm-hmm.
my most of my clients are so grateful that they have that ability to, you know, come home and cook and be creative in the kitchen because
Yeah.
it's so much. I love to cook. I know you love to
Mm-hmm.
cook.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something to be very grateful for. Whereas, you know, if you do have that tight regimen and you want to be more strict, eating the same food every single day, totally viable, totally
Right.
doable.
And some people just like that routine. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't, because I do eat kind of the same thing for breakfast. I kind of eat a similar thing for lunch, dependent. But, like, for the most part, like, we are creatures of habit, right? And so, like, if we find something we enjoy, there is no reason why you can't eat that day in, day out if that's something that you like. Um, assuming, you know, it's on the healthier side. You're not saying, oh, yeah, I love In-N-Out. I'm going to get that every day. But, yeah, actually, one of the one of my clients that I've been working with, she's like, I don't know what the word is, but like sprouted into this like nutrition junkie. She's like cooking and learning all, like once you get that basic foundation knowledge on what macros are, what protein, carbs, fats are, like the world is your oyster. And she's like adding all these different, or putting twists on foods that she likes, but in a healthier way. So, like one of her things was like she loves Hawaiian food, right? And like the macaroni salad, the chicken katsu. So she made a healthier spin on it. And so like it's getting creative and living a life that you enjoy with your food, not like, oh, I have to eat this again. It's like, no, like let's make this something that you enjoy, something that you like, and not have to groan every time you look at your plate.
That's, I mean, perfectly said. Perfectly said. Um, and it's funny. Somebody just popped in here that made me think of like you get to a point where if you are eating for specific goals, gaining weight is something you eat towards, and
Mm-hmm.
um, making sure you're eating the right amount of food. So we can, I guess this is a good segue into like calories in versus calories out. Everybody sees calories in versus calories out,
Yeah.
and on some level, that's the base level of like, okay, I want to gain weight, or okay, I want to lose weight. How much are you expending every single day? And then how can we get you into a calorie deficit or into a calorie surplus? So there's going to
Right.
be two different ways. Surplus means you're eating more than you're expending. Deficit is going to mean that you're expending more than you're eating. So logically, you want to think, okay, if I'm expending more than I'm eating, I'm going to lose weight. And if I'm eating more than I'm expending, I'm going to gain weight. And at a very base instinctual level, that's true. But the
Yes.
problem there becomes if you're eating those 6 avocados that we talked about earlier a day, you're not going to
Yeah.
gain muscle. You're not going to, your goals aren't targeted. So, they say a calorie is a calorie is a calorie, but it's not necessarily true.
Right. It isn't. I mean, if you think about it, like it just doesn't like logically like make sense. And there was a quote that I think I'll read because I don't want to mess it up. But basically, when you hit your macros, you hit your calories, but not vice versa. So if you are getting in the amount of nutrients that you need within those three macros, essentially you probably will be hitting your calories. But if you're hitting your calories, that doesn't always mean that you're hitting your macros. You know, you could be eating the 6 avocados or the 10 bananas or one chicken breast. So um, it's not it's not the other way around.
And I want to challenge, we had 10, now we have 9. These 9 people here. Um, I'm
Come
going to
on, get the
challenge
double
you guys.
digits.
I want to challenge you guys. Um, Everybody, it seems like this huge obligation to like track what you're eating. But in reality, like what I tell my clients is, let's say you're eating 4 times a day, it should take you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to log your food on
Yeah.
MyFitnessPal or some other logging, oh, we're back up to 10, or
Hey.
some other logging feature. So
Right.
take that 2 minutes a day, right? 2 minutes to really think about what you're eating. I had a client lose 15 pounds over 2 months just because he was logging his food. Like we would talk about calories, but his understanding shifted. He goes, now I'm looking at my plate and I see what I'm eating. It's no longer just, uh, you know, X, Y, and Z, big thing of rice, big thing of this. It's understanding, okay, this is a lot of carbs. So, we could talk about nutrient timing too, but there's a lot of carbs, not enough protein. Having that balanced meal and understanding what that looks like just takes the consistency of getting used to it, getting used
Right.
to logging it.
And you're no longer guessing, and you are starting to understand like the knowledge of what nutrition is, what these foods are, and what their purpose is to you. um but yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Wow, right
Well,
on time. Exactly 6:30.
there you go. Well, we could talk about this until we're red in the face. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I have so many things I could talk about with food, and I know you do too. And
Yeah.
for our clients, it's number one. People are saying, oh, workouts are important. Workouts are very important,
Yeah.
but I would say 80% is going to be in the kitchen, and 20% is going to be working out. Like
Well, that's
if you
why they
don't
say that.
have,
Oh, go ahead.
that's
Sorry.
that's why they say that 80/20. Yeah, if
Yeah,
you don't
80/20, and then abs are made in the kitchen, right? Because, yep, that's what it comes down to.
um,
Zach's abs are made in his kitchen.
so, that's something to think about because in your journey and in this change that, you guys want to make in your lives, it's
Mm-hmm.
about conditioning yourself to have this habit of healthy and practical understanding of what you're eating every single day, not just for fitness, but
Mm-hmm.
for health and for
Yeah,
lifestyle. Like,
right. Right. And having that understanding. And I've actually had a couple clients who when they started tracking, they found it so interesting. They didn't look at it as a chore. They looked at it as like, whoa. Like I didn't realize like what I was eating or how little I was eating, how much I was eating, whatever it was, but it is no longer that guessing game.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think we need to send a medal here, or everybody needs to stop and clap for Jordan because he's logged for 253 days straight. And
Wow.
he says it's a lifestyle. I know, little round of applause since he needs a little bit of attention there, buddy. Um, no, but he's a great example of like someone who came in with a goal. We
Yeah.
sat down. I said, "Are you ready to eat that much?" And he said, "I'll try it." And he gained 25 pounds, and then now he's cutting back down. So, that targeted approach to eating will get you the results. You just have to be consistent. You have to want it. Make it that lifestyle, and make it healthy.
Yeah. Exactly. Hit the nail on the head.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep talking until my face is red. So if you're ready to wrap up, let's call it a night. Um,
And
we
this is
we
going to
want
be
to.
our like part one kind of nutrition because we have, like we said, we could talk about it forever. So we do have a part two that will be happening next Monday. And we'll touch some more on nutrition and even maybe throw in some of our favorite meals and maybe.
Maybe we'll be eating during it. You never know.
Oh yeah, we could even do that. We could do a cooking with Ilana and Zach.
I have my apron. Um, and what time again will we be doing that? Like, I can't remember.
I'm thinking like 4 a.m. might be a good time.
No, every Monday, 6 p.m. we'll be going
6
live
p.m.
Pacific Standard Time. And you can catch us talking about laughing at each other, talking about nutrition. Um, and obviously we appreciate everybody who tunes in and listens. But we tend to be actually pretty friendly people. I know that's very
I
worrisome
know
because
we're
you see
super
us.
stoic. Like we
Yeah,
really
yeah.
just aren't really approachable, but
But feel free to reach in, slide into either of us DMs, and make sure if you have any questions we need to follow up on or something that you think we should bring up next time.
yeah,
Please let us know because you're
yeah,
helping not only yourself but other people if we have the answer.
right. And we want to be able to spread the knowledge, especially specifically what you guys are wondering about, because we could blab forever. So
And like we said, remain calm, and
yeah,
we'll
USA, USA.
Wusa. We will see you all next week. Have a great night. Reach out if you have any questions.
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.